This is your host, Steve from the back, coming at you again with another buck wild and crazy rant, sort of, I guess. Not really, but kinda, sort of. So I usually don't do videos like this, or rants, or whatever you want to consider this type of content, but I am going to do one of these ones. So, like, I'll be honest, on this channel's not all about spirituality or about philosophy or anything like that. Um, well, I don't know. I don't even know what to say that, but it's not really all about that. But me being someone who is left-hand path leaning, someone who's satanically inclined, and also someone who is very philosophical in beliefs. I'm open to a lot of things, and I understand a lot of things that some people, I think they really, I wouldn't even say they don't understand, but they have a lack of, what's the word? They have a disdain for, or they have a reluctancy, that's a good word, a reluctancy to even try to understand certain things, because either it just turns them off, or it just scares them, or it just, it just doesn't vibe with them, so they decide, like, I'm just going to close myself to that. But, I'm sure this people similar to myself have had experience like this, to where, they decided they were just going to go into, like, a meditation or something, and what they were really planning to do, all they were really planning to do, was probably just open themselves up to certain energies or beings, even, or a consciousness or something that, like, let's say is out there, but you're not sure, like, even in exact formula how to contact these beings, or whatever, or contact whatever this energy is, or whatever. But let's just say you are opening yourself up to it, and you kind of, some part of you is not really even expecting to successfully make any type of contact at all, like, by that you could tangibly even, like, feel, you know mentally, like, you're not thinking you're going to see anything probably, but so I did this, and something weird happened. Like, so I'll just explain to you, I mean, I'll explain to you viewers what I felt like a message was sent to me and impressed upon me very, like, kind of like heavily to say, you know what I mean? And the reason why I'm led to believe that, like, an external force was impressioning this upon me, and this is the weird thing about this type of experience, which I'm sure some of you have had probably. It's not like something is speaking to you in actual, like, words, but it's impressing emotions and a thought pattern or something on you or into you, and then whenever you try to, like, and for some reason it's hard for you even to articulate it while it's being, like, for lack of a better word, downloaded into your psyche. You're trying to articulate it, and so you keep, because you're trying to remind yourself, like, oh, this is what the message is, this is what I'm supposed to tell people. And then it's like a throbbing in your head, like, it's literally like throbbing, and it's like the more that you're trying to, like, pursue it, the more they're, like, saying, not necessarily like, yeah, you better get this out, but they're like, putting weight on it. That's the only way I can describe it. Like, they're putting weight on it, like, as if what you're about to convey, well, what they're conveying to you, is weighty. Like, it has weight behind it. Like, someone can say, like, words have weight or whatever, or a concept has, like, weight behind it. It's like they're trying to trying to convey that to you, and you're accepting it because you're like, okay, well, this is what I was kind of trying to do, not really, but I guess it's if it resonates with you in such a deep way that you're like, okay, so this is something that probably needs to be said, even though probably people will not either believe it, nor will they accept it, nor they probably will have a very negative reaction because it pushes so much against what people mostly would think. So, and someone's like, get to the point. Well, okay. So, and this is so weird too. This is like such a weird, kind of really weird concept, and I just still don't really understand like exactly what this means. But I know this was what was impression upon me by something, or so I don't know what to really how to explain it. I don't know if it's well, let's just say like a consciousness or something. You know what I mean? It's a good way to describe it. And you know, there's a possibility that this could even came from my own mind. But the reason why I think there's more of a external thing behind it is because the way the physical, how do I say this? The physical sensations I was getting in mostly that physical sensation in deep mental, like when I was trying to take it in and then reword it and like how I could understand it, this like massive throbbing inside of my head, that was almost like something pushing a weight down on top of me to say like, okay, this is really serious. Like, it may sound like something small, but it's actually very serious. So, and I'm not one of those people who does like, see people who do channeling and stuff like that. And I'm not one of those. At least I don't think I'm one of those people. Maybe I am. I don't know. But maybe I just found out that I could be or something. I don't know. But so the thing was this. Now, often on this channel, I talk about, like, cryptids, and often I speak on, like, how, for lack of a better term, cryptids get a bad name. Things that are of a certain nature get a really bad name, and we have this almost, like, Hollywoodized idea of everything in America, like, well, not even just America, just in general around the world, in human culture, we have this thing, like, where things that we don't understand we think are always the bad guys, right? Like, it's always like they're the bad guys, there's some mistake, they're not supposed to be here. We're the only things that are supposed to be here. Anything outside of that shows signs of like intelligence or is too similarly close to us but it's too animal or too something unknown or whatever, we automatically have this knee-jerk reaction to deem it as something bad, negative, or dangerous, or whatever, which is like a very false narrative and a very dangerous narrative in itself, because obviously there are like, civilizations, their intelligences, their races, their beings and stuff that are not dangerous or bad, but they are necessarily not human, and they're so it never could really be a black and white Hollywood thing like you see in Hollywood. Like, the aliens are always bad. This thing is always, it's always, the enemy is always something that we don't know or that's unknown or whatever. And you know, there's a lot of beings and things that people don't believe in. That they consider like, oh, well, that's from fairy tales. Like, you think of like mermaids and satyrs and whatever other things, and even down to like, things that people consider or try to call, whether it's true or not, reptilian. And there's all these things that like people have an idea of that exists, but a lot of it people just think is like, oh, there's no way that could exist. That's just a fairy tale, or like a bird type of person, like a something like that. Like, they're like, oh, there's no way that doesn't exist. Like, that's all sci-fi. That's all. That's all this or that's all that, right? That's what generally people who think they're rational would say, right? Well, I don't believe that, actually. Like, and the message that was impressed upon me was this, and it was such a strange message in a strange way how it even started. So a thought was in my head, and I was like, well, people talk about like reptilians and stuff, and then I was getting this image of like, you know, you often think of a reptilian, like a very dominant reptilian, as this sort of like quarterback build body type of, probably 7 foot tall, um, muscular, scaly, hard looking thing that's, it just looks it looks prehistoric, but at the same time it looks alien. At the same time it looks so what's the word, threatening or whatever. Something's really like hard looking about it, and then you're thinking like, well, Jesus Christ, is it a villain out of a comic book? It just doesn't. It just doesn't really. Like, you think if you would see something like that, like, it just would seem evil, or it just seems menacing almost. That's kind of the word I'm looking for. It just doesn't seem to fit into any realm of possibility, except like, okay, this thing must be meant to rip people to shreds. This thing's probably evil, and people think of reptiles as being like cold, so you think all these weird, like, mostly negative things. At least I don't, but most people generally have that type of thought pattern. Even when I was a kid, I used to some degree, believe that too, because I was raised Christian, and like I said, sci-fi movies, horror movies, all these movies, we always get taught little things that we pick up, and we actually take them as truth subconsciously, whether we believe it or not. Um, from things like this, and I was thinking this thing, like, I'm like getting an image of it in my mind, like this parts of this thing's, its shoulder, its back, its head, its neck, and everything. I'm thinking like, well, this this thing looks like pretty powerful, and pretty, like, it looks just kind of menacing. Like, it just doesn't really look like, it looks mean as hell in every way. Like, it looks tough as nails. It looks like like its skin looks like a tire. Like, not it looks like a tire, but the skin looks tough like a tire. Like, it looks so rugged that you're like, just nah, man. And then you start thinking like, okay, so how dense are this thing's bones? Like, this thing seems like it's very, very, very strong. Like, unhumanly strong. Like, not even unhumanly huge, but it just seems unhumanly, like, has a physicality that seems like fairy tale like. You know what I mean? Like, it has a strength to it that just just doesn't seem like a type of thing that could even be humanly normally imagined. You know what I mean? Like, you don't imagine a person on the street that is like a, all round world Olympic athlete. They're like, seemingly like the world's strongest man, tough as nails. Look, this thing seems prehistoric. Like, it seems like if it was in the jungle, if it was in any setting, this thing seems like it would always come out on top as like a apex predator. It's intelligent. It's what's the word? It has like a, almost like a dignified manner to it. Like, it just seems like it's just such this massively powerful thing, right? And you're just like, it's just insane. You're like, nah, no, like, no way, it can't even exist, right? Like, it has to be a fairy tale creature. Like, there's no way this thing, in a bad way too. Like, this is a monster. Like, this is not, But the thing that was impressed upon me, that whenever this consciousness started to say something, like, started to talk, if you will, not really talk, but to impress thought patterns. When, right as I was like, analyzing this hypothetical image of this reptoid, reptar, whatever you want to call it, reptilian thing, um, it started to say, like, one of the reasons why, and it seemed kind of almost like nonchalant, which is so weird. Like, didn't seem really like it was, like, what it was saying to me seemed like to them or whatever, that it was nonchalant for them to know this, right? They were saying that one of the reasons why some of these beings, like these, the dog man, 9 foot tall, 10 foot tall, 8 foot tall, plus pounds, muscular, huge, athletic. A lot of them are predators physically. They're like predators. It's like, we have like alligators, like we have like alligators, wolves, things like that. They're like apex predators. Well, what they were saying was that one of the reasons why these things even look the way they do and why they function how they function is because they need more energy than a human body needs. Now, I don't even understand what that really means. My first thought was thinking like, so what do you mean, like food caloric intake? Are you saying that like like anything, like obviously an elephant would eat more than, or a gorilla eats more than a person. You know what I mean? You're thinking like powerful big things like a lion, for instance, eats more or needs more, maybe more sleep, more food, more water, more this than a, but the way I felt like this was impressed when they said energy, it was more like even to a spiritual level, like to the point of to where it would almost be to say that you would find it hard, and this is like how I could kind of, with my human thoughts, could try to like uh, even articulate this. It would be hard for you to house the, let's just even say the soul essence, or the, it would be hard to house whatever that energy or essence is of something like that in a human body. So it takes more. Whatever this energy is, like this energy, that's really the key thing they were trying to say, was like it takes more energy for those beings to even manifest in our existence. And I felt like it meant in all capacities, like to even be, to be born, to be bred, to manifest in any way, it takes much more energy. And they also impressed, which is the weirdest thing, but I'd have to say this how it sounds, even though it's crazy it sounds. They were saying that your lack of belief, like your lack of faith or belief in those type of things, your lack of faith and your lack of belief in old world, where these things were more like more common, I guess, or more commonly known about, or something like that, or more accepted. Like a lot of it had to do with like acceptance, and not worship, but more like reverence, like how you respect something, or you accept and respect something's like existence, or you respect the fact that it is there. And you, it's like almost like opening your heart to something, like on a like emotional and spiritual level. Like you have to, you know it's kind of like if you were to deny a person, like, and say to a person, okay, you don't exist. You turn your back literally on someone and say you don't exist, right? They were trying to impress on me that like it makes it hard, and I don't even know if this means like hard as in it's hard for them to actually exist in this world that we live in now, or it's hard for them to, you know, eat, sleep. They don't have as many places that they can like habitate. I don't know if they were trying to convey all that at once, but to me it kind of seemed like that. Like they were trying to convey that in general, um, in this world where people have denied and forgotten the existence of certain beings, it makes it hard for them, and it makes it hard for them because they need more and more. That was the key. Whereas like they need more energy than us humans do. You know. Now I still don't exactly know. Like I keep trying to think. Like, so what is that? Like, what does that really mean? You know what I mean? But at least I know, like, because it was impressed so heavy, like that is what's going on, and that's something that's been going on for a long time. And in fact, that a lot of these creatures that people believe are like from fairy tales, or whatever, like classically fairy tales. You know what I mean? Like mermaids, satyrs, things like of that nature, are actual beings, but those beings need much more energy than a human body can even have. You know what I mean? They need more. Like they need more than us to exist and to manifest. And that literally your lack of belief, or your lack of your denial, basically your denial of their existence, uh in your disdain towards them, makes it hard for them to manifest. And it makes it hard for them to live in this world. you know that's what they said. That's what they were impressing upon me. So I had to, it was impressed that, like, I had to say it. Like, I have to say it, because it's not that most people would even believe it, but it's that it's important to be said, because to them it's a deep thing. Like, it's a really important thing. you know Now, I don't really know half any of the ins and outs of how any of that works. I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I knew, but I don't understand it. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't understand how. Like, I'll give you an example. What I really mean when I say it, like, I don't understand how something that's and this is just something we as humans struggle with, because we live in such a physical world that we don't understand, like, spiritual, or even, I wouldn't even know to call it spiritual, but we don't understand deeper things of, like, physics and science and stuff that we don't understand yet. Like, we don't understand how something that's so-called physical can move between being physical and maybe not, or the classic, like, okay, well, how does something that doesn't be that's you're supposed to move on its own? Like a paranormal thing. Like, how does a cup move across the table if no one moves it? You know what I mean? Things like that. Now, I really strongly believe, and this wasn't impressed upon me, but I believe this. I believe that these beings, some of these beings that we see, like, cryptids and stuff, have an innate ability to, I don't know if even if they, I wouldn't necessarily say maybe even they understand it sometimes, but I think it innately, I think some spiritual things innately come to them innately as a being, because they're just a different, they're a different makeup. I believe than us. Like, they are I wouldn't necessarily know if I would say a higher makeup of something, which I would kind of believe that, like, kind of leaning towards that. Um, but I also think that, like, they they're just different. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not the same. They're clear different. They're different than us. Like, I feel like we have certain potentials and abilities and things as human beings, but you know, if we could even, like, come close to using them, it would take a lot of effort and, like, teaching. Like, I think that's why we even have, like, that's why we have witches. That's why we have spiritual people. That's why we have types of gurus and things. That's why we have certain practices that are supposed to even get you in a state of mind to experience certain things, because I don't think innately it's as easy for us to even scratch the surface of what some of these like beings and things can really do. You know what I mean? Um, and for some of them, yes, on a physical level, they have a physicality that is so different than a person. You know what I mean? It's very it's powerful. It's like nothing like a person. Um, Not nothing like, but it's very different than a person. You know what I mean? And it was impressed by me like that. Like, they need more energy. You know, and I don't know to say that that's like their energy. What's the word? I'm looking for. That they're not energy efficient. Like, I don't even know how that works. You know what I mean? Like, I know you have to eat. I know you have to sleep. I know and that is a form of energy. But to me, it felt like this energy they're talking about is on a deeper level. Like this is some type of energy that I'll just like they didn't impress this upon me, but I'm about to close soon. But I think this is just me theorizing this though right now, so don't take what I'm saying now at this point as something that they impress. What I think kind of has to do with this to a degree, and I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, but I think like when a person or something is like born, I believe that like if you were had a certain type of essence in you, that is something like great or something to a certain level. I don't think you would be born as a person. You know what I mean? Like I think you would be like I think how that works is you'd probably be born as something different. You know what I mean? Or something higher or something. I don't think you'd be born like into a human family. You know what I mean? Like think of it like this, and I'm not even like a Christian, but I do think angels do exist. You know what I mean? Because I know like if other things exist, I do think angels definitely do exist. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're exactly what the Bible's saying they are, but I think something like that does exist. You know, I'm pretty sure it's a thing. Now, if you look at an angel and you look at a person, right, it's clear that an angel is like a way step up, is a way higher type of being than a person is, you know, and it's just clear to see, clear as day, you know. Angels can do all types of things. They can do destructive things. They can do healing things. Usually, it's like a more of a benevolent healing type of thing. Usually, or if they deliver messages to people, it's something that is like positive and profound. But it's clear, it's easy to see that they're on a much higher level than a person. It's kind of like if you take like we joke about like the pig and then the guinea pig. Well, the angels are like the huge pig, and we're like little guinea pigs. You know what I mean? So I look at it like that. You know, if your essence like is so broad, it's just this deep big thing, you can't, that's not that's not the format for a little human body and a little human mind and a little I don't think it works like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't um work like that. Now I will say I believe that like there's parts of other beings in a way, like in a spiritual way, that are somewhat attached to a person, to a human being. But I mean, like, I feel like there's a type of energy that is so a certain way that it is really just the soul essence of certain things, and those things are not human. You know what I mean? Most of them they're just not. They're not human at all. And when I say at all, I mean I don't really mean that because who knows? Maybe they could have some DNA that's from a person. Maybe they were crossbred in such a way or manipulated that maybe they actually do, which they probably some of them probably do. Because I do believe that extraterrestrials in general or interdimensional beings or whatever do have a thing for like creating and manipulating DNA and stuff like that to make things and do different things. But you get what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is like, you know, if your experience, I mean, that's the word I could use for it. Like, if your other than energy, like if your experience in some point in place is a certain way, um, you're just not going to be born into a human family or into a human body. You're just not. You know what I mean? Like, not saying it can't be possible because who knows? I don't know. There could be someone out there that is like that. You know what I mean? And I would think if there was a person out there like that, um, it would sound like a conspiracy theory. Like they're probably someone who masquerades as a person, but they're probably some very powerful, wealthy person who probably has contact with many other beings, and they're probably like I guess it would be like a god amongst you would never know, but it would be like a god amongst humans. That's what I would think it looked like. It would be like for something like that. And it also opens up a lot of other interesting questions like, okay, well, can that even be a thing? Like, can there be a person like that, or can there be the reverse opposite? I don't know. But the message was, like, I have to say it again, the message was saying that, like, you know, these these beings does first off, they deserve for you to believe in them, right? So they does it's that they deserve that, okay? They deserve that. But then second off, the atmospheric changes, and atmospheric mostly by like spiritually, I mean, like it's like a thought thing. It's like literally like your thoughts, or the energy behind your thoughts. If you make that this atmosphere, this that we live in, if you make that atmosphere uh negative in the sense that you are denying their existence, that has some type of impact on them. That's something that they conveyed. And also that in general, they need much more, like much more, they were saying, much more energy than you do, than we do. You know what I mean? They need more. I'm like, okay, so all right. And they weren't really specific exactly about like exactly what entities or what beings these were. It's just they were saying like it's many beings that we deem as being fairy tale being. They're fairy tale beings. Like they're beings that we think don't exist. You know, um, and it had a lot to do with like cryptids. Like cryptids that we think we think aren't real. We think we say they're not real. We don't believe in them. Um, and they were trying to convey that like it wasn't always that way. Like there was a time where people more or less believed in a lot of these things. And now what we live in is that people don't. You know what I mean? People don't believe in them. And not saying that they like cease to exist, but the impression was that if there is an impact on them, on the fact that like the way that we think, that we deny them. So and basically what I was trying to convey to them was I was trying to convey to them that like no, I don't, you know what I mean? Like I know that you exist, you know what I mean? Like I'm not denying you for a second that you don't exist. You know what I mean? I'm not, you know. Um and I felt like the thing was in there, and I'm not special by any means because a lot of people know this. A lot. When I say a lot, I say a lot of people really do know this. It's just they won't say this openly because they don't want to be looked at as the crazy person who believes in nonsense. But a lot of people do know this. But what I got from it was, see, if you are open to them, if you're open to them, there's a big possibility that they will speak to you or something. You know what I mean? Or they'll try to convey something to you if you're genuinely and sincerely open to them, then that's a possibility. That's what I was feeling. That's what I felt like they were conveying to me too. Like they were saying, like, okay, well, you know, if you want to know, all you have to do is ask. It's like it's kind of that simple. Not really that simple, but it starts with the thought. Like it starts in your mind that you and in your heart. So, and I think it's interesting because like you always hear like Christians talk about like, oh, it made me think of like when they say, about the Jesus story, like you're supposed to believe in your heart, you're supposed to this and that, you're supposed to, you know, like it's some form. There's also emotion that's supposed to be wrapped up in, I guess, like um, you're supposed to be emotionally open for them. That's the thing. It's like there's some level of where you have to. It's like if you have a certain level of disdain for them, then it puts a barrier between, however that works, like it put this some type of barrier that they're not going to be opening to you because you're close to them. Okay, so I guess it's like you have to be open to them. You can't be holding a lot of fear and disdain. And where you start with is you start that you want. It's like you want to either have an encounter with them or you want to make some type of connection with them to where they communicate with you in whatever way or form or fashion, and then you communicate back to them, right? So, and this is something that's already been done many times. There's people that can do this so much better than I could even try to, that it's not even funny. Like there's people that literally they might as well have a job doing this. You know what I mean? So I was actually kind of surprised, like kind of, and I'm still surprised. Like I'm still very surprised over it, and it's something that it's something that I thought before, like maybe was a thing, but was never ever conveyed to me in a very heavy, serious way that yes, that is what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. You know, this is something that's going on. And I promise you, I'm going to close soon. And this is a problem too. This is an issue because this is a serious issue in my opinion because oh, I know exactly how to put this. I'm trying to think of the word to put in it. The reason why this is such a big issue, whether some people are like, oh, it's all sci-fi anyway. This is no, bro. You think it is, but it's fucking not sci-fi. This is reality. This is the actual reality that we live in. This is what's actually going on. The reason why this is such a big issue is because what this does, in a way, and I believe this. Now, I can't say I can prove this, but this is just what my gut feeling tells me is that the reason why this is such a big problem, us as human beings having such a disconnect to that spiritual part of a world and both physical at the same time, because it is both a physical and spiritual thing that's going on. The reason the disconnect between us and a lot of these beings and consciousnesses and things like that, and civilizations and stuff. The reason why it's such a bad thing that we are disconnected from them is because we are stunted in our evolution as a race of human beings, whatever we are. For us to be separated so much from other things is it's like if you isolated one group of kids in a school and then you let all the other ones just flourish and keep moving ahead and keep moving ahead and evolving and keep moving ahead, and then you kept one group in a small little sector or whatever you want to call it, and you just let them just stunted growth. Like they're literally just stunted, just sitting there, right? While all these other whatever you want to call them are excelling and have excelled and they're more advanced and just more advanced, and they just keep they don't really. I don't know to say that they don't stop moving, but I would say they maybe they do come to a stop because they come to a point where they know okay, we really just have a good thing. I don't know how that works. Maybe that is a thing. But the whole point is that we are not moving like that. We are not. As a civilization, if we still have things like we still have, poverty, we still have war, we still have, you know, people arguing over race, we still have, violent crimes, we still have if we still have some of the issues that we had, and I think some of these other beings and stuff have still, I think some of these issues and things, and some of them I feel like they're very, very earthly. And when I say earthly, I mean they're earthly, like these dog men and these, a lot of these creatures, they're like they're very grounded in the earth, so they're similar to animals and things. They're very, not all, but a lot of them. They're very, so they, in essence, are very primitive. Like we're very primitive. You know what I mean? But there are some other beings that they are actually even more. They're very much more evolved and things like that. And we are not even we're not even close to that, man. I mean, we're just not even And then another thing I have to ask the question of is like some of these primitive, really like primitive type of beings. What I have to ask the question is, just because they're primitive and stuff like that, it doesn't mean that their society doesn't work. Because their society might work better than ours, for all we know. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because their society could be something simple as like, the laws of the jungle. I'm just saying this. I don't know if this is a thing, but like, let's say Dogman, for instance. Maybe it's just like the biggest, strongest ones that are in that uh whatever. I don't know what they have. I don't know if they have clans. I don't know what they really have, or groups or whatever. But maybe the way that they work is like just simply that. Like it's mostly just about who's the stronger or more apt individual for whatever task. And if that's not your place, then you're not gonna fight against that. You get what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna fight against that, or who knows? I don't know. Maybe they may even have strict rules. Like they may even execute someone if they get too riled up or they try to break the mold. I don't. That's not really doesn't sound good to me, but maybe it works for them. Is what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that you've seen the news. I've seen the most disgusting things on the news lately that make me just disgusted. Like the thing about like a teen who is a teen. He's like just a kid. You know what I mean? A kid working at a kitchen gets assaulted. He gets knocked out by some adult man, I believe, that was with adult women, and they flee the scene of the crime and get in a car and drive away. You know what I mean? Like, what? Why would you? Like, what the hell is wrong with people? Like you're is gonna knock out just some teen kid working his job at a table because you were mad that the tables weren't. You know what I mean? You were mad the tables weren't big enough or whatever. Or you wanted more tables or whatever. This how the situation went. You got one story where a guy uh, gets punched in the face, hits the ground, head hits the concrete or whatever. He actually died later. A guy knocked him out because he didn't like his tattoos. I mean, see, this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. So like, if we're doing this type of crap, right? Which you all know we are. Just be real. You know what goes on. So if we're acting like straight up animals, we're acting like animals, bro. So if we're always acting like animals ourselves, I'm like, the thing is, there are civilizations out there, and there's things out there that might not even be. You know what I mean? They're not acting a darn fool. You know what I mean? And they're more advanced than us already, and they're more ahead already, and on top of that, so we can't seem to get our Earth, our world, our whatever. I'm not even saying it's ours because we share it with so many other things. But what I'm saying is we can't get so much stuff like right that we can't be judging anybody. We can't be judging anything. Like matter of fact, we need to think outside the box and start looking out to other things, like to see what do you have an idea. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with it. That's the problem with us as human beings. Like we are so uh programmed and so brainwashed that first off, that's an idea that doesn't exist in a lot of people's heads. Second off, people are so fear mongering that like they can't get the idea of like, okay, something that doesn't look like me or maybe does look like me or whatever, but is different. We can't try to make communication to try to see if we could solve like problems and things like that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about the situation of it's like having some kids that are literally in a classroom. You get a bunch of all the other kids, they excel, and then you put these kids in a category that makes them uh deficient, retarded, literally retarded. Figure you make it's like what are you that's not supposed to be a thing. That's not supposed to be a thing. Um and that's an issue. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest issues that is in this world right now. Is our reluctancy to truly on a big scale make the real contact that we need to make so that we can actually move forward as a race and a civilization. So it's a lot of evil shit going on. It's pure evil. It's like literally the idea that people want so much control, which they know who they are. They want so much control that you would rather have humanity be always failing so you can have control instead of trying to let humanity actually grow like it's supposed and evolve like it's supposed to be. You know, that's a that's a big problem. And I don't like to curse, and I try not to with these rants, but it's fucking retarded. Um, I'm sorry to say it like that. I don't want to say it like that, but it's fucking retarded as fuck, and it's evil as fuck. It's insidious and it's evil as fuck. That's what's going on. You know, so, when you guys are out here and you watch these disclosure type of videos and things like that, you need to fucking listen, man. Like, if you really want to get into that type of thing and you want to make contact and you want to do these things, watch like some Stephen Greer stuff. Do it because I'm telling you, like, that is what the world needs, like, and I'll even say to myself, like, I might be a selfish person, I might be a very evil person sometimes, and feel like, well, I try to stay away from trying to help humanity and rather just try to do things that feed into my own life and try to, and I know that's messed up, but I'm saying, like, for those of you that care even more, like, about this plight of this world or plight of people's lives, um do yourself a service and do what I just said. You know, and I would just hope that if you did do that, you know, you would do it with the right mindset and you do it with a, pure heart. You do it with genuine good intentions and try to use it how it's supposed to be used and don't think you're going to turn it and try to twist it into something for your own. Don't like that would defeat the whole purpose. So because that's not really how you can't, I'll be honest, you can't even come near some of these beings with that type of, like, mentality. Like, you can't they'll see straight through it. You can't really come with that type of energy, you know so that's the message, you guys. It's a weird message. It seems like something mundane, like, okay, so what is that, how does it help anybody? Like, okay, they need more energy than us, okay, like, well, I think it kind of does because it speaks volumes if you really think about that concept. Like, it really speaks something. Like, it's telling you, um it's what I think, like, it's telling you is it's telling you the magnitude of the actual magnificence of some of these beings. Like, that's what I feel like it's really saying. Like, it's saying, like, okay, these things are not these, like, parasitic little, little nasty things that aren't supposed to be here. They're not always these, like, monstrous dark little things or big things or whatever, or he's nasty. No, it's more like this is a very complex, very, like it has an ancient divine power to it. You know what I mean? That's the only way to start. Like, they have a divine role. That's where, I guess that's where I say they have a divine role that they play in this existence that has been kind of, I feel like, denied to them. Like, it's been not stripped, but it's been what's the word? There's a word for it. I'm trying to think of that word. What it means? It's been disgraced. That's where it's kind of like been disgraced. It's been perverted. Not that it's been perverted, but we've put a bad name on it. We've put a bad, like, what's the word? Deformation. That's what it's like. Deformation of character. Like, we, we've put a bad name on something that was supposed to be reverenced and respected. You know what I mean? And then it was supposed to be mutual respect. Like, it's supposed to be, we respect them, they respect us, and we both understand each other's significance. But now in this modern time, it's everything but that. It is like, oh, you see the movies, the aliens are always bad. You see the movie, the monster's always the bad guy. You always see, monster's a bad word because, like, it's just a being half of the time. It's half of the time it's not. There's no such thing as like a monster. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, monsters are just bad people or bad beings that decide they want to do bad things. Like it's not, you know, you can't. You need to stop. You can't be calling something a monster just for existing. You know what I mean? But then you want to call some other thing majestic because you just think it looks pretty or whatever, like like for instance, like a mermaid. You know what I mean? You think just because you think a mermaid, which who knows, they may not even be that pretty. I don't know. But you look at something like a mermaid, you think, oh well, it's a mermaid, so it's majestic. But then you look at like a Bigfoot, for example, like a Sasquatch, you're like, oh, it's a fucking monster. You're like, nah, not really. It's they're both fucking monsters. You're a fucking monster. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, in my opinion, if you're physical enough that you bust out like hot, stinky, nasty farts and shit, that sounds monstrous to me. Like what? Tell me what animal or person that does not, you know, do that. And what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? That's nothing's fucking pretty about that. That's disgusting. So what I'm saying is, it's fucked up how people's minds think. Like it's really fucked up how our minds just think about things. Like it's like, why do you have to be so shallow? Like why do you seriously have to be that shallow? Like why can't you be more complex with how you think? Like why do you just just I don't know. It doesn't work and it doesn't make sense really, and it's just not a good thing. So, you know, take this and I'm sure some of you guys probably have the same exact message or probably had some type of, even on a better level with better, you're more adept, you're more skilled, and you probably have had messages sent to you from beings, whether they're like demons, whether they're angelic, whether they're, of an alien nature. I can't even tell you what it was that was conveying this to me, but I know it was something. And it was because it was so unusual, I mean, the way it was happening. Like, so, and how fast, it was funny because how fast it happened was the very moment where I kind of like let it go and kind of started to stop thinking about like getting the message, and I just was like picturing this reptilian. That's when I started getting the message like started flooding in. So and it's something that I'm gonna try again. You know what I mean? I'm gonna actually try to see if I could like and improve upon this. You know what I mean? Like as a skill. You know what I mean? Like I want to see if I can really make a better, deeper contact. Something, you know what I mean? Um, so this is something also. I'm gonna say this before I really close. Those of you out there that really want to do something like this, try it. You know what I mean? Try to make contact. You know, this is one of the reasons why I always say like you need to stop being scared. Like you need to stop listening to what you see in horror movies and what stop listening to all that. You need to not be afraid of things. You need to learn that you can't be scared. That you just have to be open. And you have to accept things. Um. So those of you out there, because I'm pretty sure that there are so many people out there that could do something like that way better than I can. You know, and it's most of you people like that, those are the ones that are needed, that need to do these things, but you for some reason or the other, you don't want to even think of it, or you don't want to, but you need to stop that. Like you need to do what you really should be doing, you know and I just have to say it like that. That's just how it is, you know um and I'm also going to say before I close, like I'll say this and admit this openly, that like I have known Christians, right? I have known literal Christians who probably could do this way better than I can, right? Who have Christians. And that's because inherently they're gifted. You know what I mean? Some people have like inherent gifts to do certain things. Like they have gifts to like make contact with things. They're very open to the spirit world. They have a very uncanny ability to interact with spirits and things like that. Some of them can even see spirits and things like that, and they don't have to try. It's like it just happens. Like it's just a gift, right? It just happens naturally. So you know, a lot of people like that. The problem with them is they let their false beliefs And I hate that someone's say, "No, what do you just said the Christians believe?" Oh no, I'm not. Don't wait. I'm like, don't really put words in my mouth. What I'm saying is, maybe there's a better way to say it. What I'm really trying to say is sometimes some of your own beliefs that you have really held on to need to be let go so that you could experience something else. But see, that's all your choice. That's your choice. No one can like force you to do this. No one would even know that you even have a gift like that. No one would know that. You know, most people wouldn't even know that. Or if they did, they probably wouldn't know for you what to do with it. Like they probably wouldn't have a solution or tell you how you should be using it, right? In general, or if because most people don't even believe the shit exists anyway. So what I'm saying is, some of you out there, what you need to do is you need to just stop the bullshit. For lack of a better word, like you need to cut the shit. You need to stop the bullshit. So you need to stop saying like, oh, this is evil. I can't do that. This is scary. This is evil. Like, man, okay, and I'll even say it to you like this, man. This is from something that I've actually secondhand had an experience with. Like, not me, but someone I know. So, if your ass is literally about to get what you think is demons or whatever, abducted pretty much by aliens, or they're really trying to contact your ass, like literally they're like have you levitating or something, or have they're coming in your room or whatever. See, you're the person that needs to be open because like if you can have that type of experience, then you must be. Do you get the point I'm trying to make? It's like, but you're so caught up in your fear that you are trying to like escape it. So you're like telling them basically mentally, you're like, get away from me, you know what I mean? Or however you're trying to convey it, or you're praying or you're pleading your little blood of Jesus upon it or whatever you're doing because you think it's evil or whatever. See, though you're the very person that actually needs to learn that like you're pushing away something that's actually probably trying to help you. You're how do I say this? You're just disgracing a powerful gift that was literally given to you before you were even born. That's what you're doing when you do it. You're literally trying to take something that is so sacred and actually, a lot of people call things like magical and shit like that. No, that is actually magical. So you're trying to take something that's actually magical, it's actually sacred, that's ancient, right? And powerful, you're taking that in a modern mundane world and you are throwing that away, is what you're doing. That's what you're doing if you're that person. So what does that make you? Like you have to, if you actually think of it like that, which that's what's going on. What the fuck does that make you? Like I've said before, that you're a coward, you're a disgrace. It's like you're disgracing yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's a disgraceful move. You disgrace yourself, man. That's like literally if that's like and this is what I mean by how people are, how stupid sometimes people are. It's like you see, if you thought like, oh, I'm related to like royalty or something, right? And some friggin' fancy smancy people or persons comes to you and they're like, oh, you're a descendant of this, that, and the third, and they want to friggin' know about you and shake your hand or whatever, right? That's in your, you would jump, especially. I'm not gonna go there, but whatever. You know what I was about to say. I was about to say, if your ass is black, you you're jumped off your seat like, oh shit, But you would be so quick to make contact with that. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a person, looks like a person, looks like you. You know what I mean? Your family. You're like, oh, you know. But if something else decides that they're trying because you have such this energy, you have such this gift that you're like an open portal to them, like you're literally like or earpiece or whatever you want to call it, like you're so accessible to them, and they're probably taking some type of risk, I'm imagining, in contacting you. I would think that's how it will work. They're probably taking some type of risk in even contacting you. And like, how did they manifest themselves to you? How the hell did they get in what is? and this is experience I'm talking about with someone else, but how did they get in what is a city that is just a mundane city? Like, so maybe no one else can see them. I don't know, but except the person that's experienced it. But how did they get? How did they get there? It's a question. Like, was it risks involved that did they have to travel? Like, how did they? How did they get there? What I mean? But they're there. Um. So you mean to tell me that something like that is that significant, you are going to just toss that away because you're afraid? Like, I don't know, man. To me that sounds like like I said before, it's a choice. We live in a world of choices. Things usually don't try to forcefully impress themselves upon people, thankfully, but they really don't. Like I said, they have a very like dignified, honest way about them. Whether people want to believe that or not, a lot of these things, so they're not gonna like force you. They're not gonna be bugging you, but they may show up. You know, in some way or another. For some people, which because you're so gifted, they will show up in a big, tangible, serious way. Like I said, they're in your bedroom or something at night or something. You know what I mean? Or it could even be in the daytime, but it's usually at night. They're in you, so they're making contact with you in like a very significant way, a very in your face way, a physical, tangible way where you can literally reach out and touch them. And you mean to tell me that you're going to throw that away? Because why? Because you were taught that you're a Christian or something. You were taught they're demonic. You were taught like, bro, that's what's wrong with this world. That's what I'm trying to explain. That's is what is wrong with this world is that a serious part of what's wrong with this world. There's a lot of other things, but that's one of the hugest things. Because see, the trick is this. The joke is this. The real joke is that and I just have to say it, you have a lot of Christians, and I'm not even saying this just because I'm satanic. I'm saying this because it's just a fact. You have Christianity does a lot of good. It does. I've met a lot of good Christians. They do a lot of good for communities. They do, but this is the problem. It also does a huge lot of problems in this world. Um, because the Christianity causes people to be taught that this is evil when it's not always. Now, sometimes, yes, an evil thing can like contact you. Duh. Something evil can uh, work its way into our existence and do things, and there are evil things. But what I'm saying is, often it's not evil. So, what Christianity does is it teaches you that everything abnormal is evil. So it's like not everything abnormal, but for the most part, everything that's abnormal is evil to some degree or has some evil will. So you're already trained to think that, okay, this is an attack. You know what I mean? This is a demonic attack. This is evil. So you end up pushing good away from you. So the actual good that's in the world that's trying to like come to you, which is kind of this ironic because that's what you think Christianity is all about. Like it's about, it's always about the divine good coming to you. It's always about, like that concept, whether it's God or it's the angels or it's, the prophet or the disciple or the apostle or, it's all, or the saint or whatever, or, so it's the irony is that literally when good actually comes to you, you don't even recognize it. So the face of good, that's actually the way it looks to you, freaks you out because you're just like, oh, this is scary. You know what I mean? It's like, so no, that's the actual divine. That's the actual good that's actually physically actually coming to you. You know what I mean? But you think, oh, because you're a Christian, oh, no, oh God, this is evil. So that's you're way off. So this is what I mean. This is why I talk about the shit I talk about on this channel. Like some people be like, "Oh, you're nuts." Yeah, okay, motherfucker, you're fucking nuts. You know what I mean? Like we all die some days, they say. So like, I'm pretty sure we'll all find out. So I can be as nuts. You can call me whatever you want all day, but it doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? Really, it just don't mean shit anyway. Um, But this is why I talk about this stuff I talk about on this channel. because it needs to be said, and it needs to be said to you in a harsh way, and it needs to be said with kind of no fucks given. Um, because like I said, there's too many sloppy, lazy ass Christian motherfuckers out here that are just not understanding what's going on, that are just brain dead. Um, it's just not doing it's not doing anybody a service. I'm not even saying that. See, it says don't get it twisted. I'm not saying Christianity as a whole is all bad. What I'm saying is that you need to know when, like, you need to know when it's bullshit, and you need to know when it's hurting you, because when it is, it is. But some of you people are so stuck on like what you think you believe, or think you know. But whatever, okay, man. Um, so that's the message. I hope you guys enjoyed the rant's last message from the spirit world. That's the only way I could describe it, is because the only way I could describe it is it came from the spirit world. You know what I mean? That's where the message came from. Now, I don't mean to offend anyone or thing or beings or anything by saying that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong the way I said it, but that's the only way I could describe it. Because, like, in my opinion, the spirit world is everything, because anything living or anything not living is part of is spirit. You know what I mean? So you can't escape that. So I feel like that just covers everything. So that's the message. Uh, that's the rant. This is your host Steve from the back. Um, this is Steve's Art and Fun channel. Like, comment, and sub. I usually would never. It's almost 3 damn a.m. It's 2:59, man. So I normally wouldn't do this, but I just figure, well, it's a time frame and a window, so I figure, okay, which is ironic too that it's 3 a.m. and I'm sending this message. But yeah, you guys, like, comment, and sub. Hit the bell icon. Every sub, every comment is appreciated. And I'm just gonna be honest, man. You can have fun with this channel. Like, have fun. But you know, don't be coming on here with no bullshit. Like, don't be in the comments with your little, some of that scam comments, like telling me you're someone from this channel and you're on you're what you want, some WhatsApp, whatever the fuck how are you gonna say, and all this bullshit. Don't come with no bullshit on this channel, man. Just save me and save yourself the fucking hassle. If you come on this channel to have fun, watch the content. There's gameplay vids on this, not playthroughs really, but gameplay vids. There's rants. I fucking run the gamut of a lot of things I talk about on this channel, so it's not just one thing, you know. It's a lot. So you really, when you come on my channel, as small as the channel is, when you come on this channel, you have to really go into the videos. You know what I mean? You got to go back. Like, you can go back old. You got to go to old videos, new videos, current. You got to, because it's gonna make you think about a lot of things. So, and that's the point. The point of this channel is for me to have fun, for you to have fun, but also to make you think of things. And I am no teacher. I would never put myself on any pedestal to say I'm teaching anything. But if it's some shit that you didn't know about, well, now you fucking know. That's what this channel does too. It's like, if you had a thought and you had an inkling and there was doubt there and you were like, I need someone to just tell me, to just say it. And like, don't be sweet about it, don't be nice about it, just fucking say it. Like, and tell me what it is so I can like have closure or whatever. I can feel like, well, that's what I do a lot on this channel. I'll fucking say it. I'll say it. Because I get sick and tired of people not saying it. Because I'm thinking, like, you know damn well what the fuck this is. You know what's going on. So then say it. If you know what's going on, then why aren't you speaking about it? Or so you, what is it? Because you're afraid of judgment? I look at it like, man, I'm already so judged that I don't feel like there's a fucking point for me to give a fuck. I'm already so deep in the hole of judgments that I'm like a dead man walking. It's like it doesn't fucking matter at this point. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it just doesn't matter. So that's the rant. Like I said, comment, sub, and wish everybody the best of luck. And I hope that like if you watch this, I hope that it does something good for you. Like I hope you actually um got something good out of it. That's what I'm trying to say. So have a nice night or day. I don't know what time frame you're in or time zone or whatever. And if you're one of these people on this channel watching and like you actually agree with the stuff I'm saying and you are a spiritual person, your prayers are appreciated. You know what I mean? Your whatever type of prayers those are, whether they're satanic prayers or if it's just good vibes you're sending, or if it's if you're someone who is like of a more of a extraterrestrial type of inclination or whatever, send some good word, put some good words in for me, because I'm not a perfect person, and I can be pretty evil sometimes, but at the end of the day, what I'm really trying to do is not hurt people. It's really not. It's actually gonna help people, or in helping people. What I'm actually doing, it's not hurting people. It's just people often don't want to believe that. They would rather want to believe what's easy for them to believe. So with all that being said, have a good one, and until next time. And I was gonna say, you know, you guys, this is not a podcast either. Um, this is not a podcast, but I'm going to say that if you guys are into podcasts and you're into certain types of conversation, then still you probably still want to hit up this channel, because it's similar. Sometimes it's similar to like what a podcast would be. In the fact that there's a lot of conversation about certain things. So if you're into like the cryptid podcast type of deal, you probably should. You should probably. I'm not saying sub, but I'm saying like just give the channel a look. Because for all you know, I might even cover or talk about something that's not exactly so talked about, or my perspective may just be different than a lot of things you may have not, you may have heard. So that's the rant, and that's the message. And have a good one.